Hey, this is Jonathan Lunger at Hologramchat.com, and this is episode 80 of the Fireside Chat. And yes, the fires died down, ran out of wood. I'll get some more soon, using little twigs from the yard. But anyways, real happy to once again have my friend Scott Bravell, the ambassador of abundance here, and we're going to talk about a concept that's dear to my heart. It's slaying the procrastination dragon or the procrastination beast. Like, we all have these excuses in our subconscious and conscious mind where we want to choose the less painful route, the easier route in life. And, you know, I'm grateful that Scott introduced me to the power strips. I recommend y'all click the link below and check those out. And also recommend the blog, click that below and check the disclaimers below too. We don't promise anything to anybody, so you can read the full stuff below. But hey, Scott, how you doing? I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, it's nice to be joining you on episode number 80, Jonathan.
Awesome.
We do promise a little bit of fun and a little bit of enlightenment if you're open-minded. We can't promise that, I think, but
Right. Yeah, I liked your music choice tonight. The teaching while learning, because we're all still learning through this whole process. And like, we talked about, why do people procrastinate? Like, the fear of success is something you mentioned, and people don't want to live in a world where they have to have a bulletproof car and wear a bulletproof vest and have to worry about all their family and friends trying to pretend that like they're all of a sudden interested and wanting to hang out. Or you want to expand on that?
yeah, there's a comfort zone that people get into, and it's well, I'm used to this lifestyle, and people might even tell you, well, I do a pretty good job of stretching my money out from one paycheck to the next, or I'm frugal, or I'm good at managing my money, or something like that. What they're really telling you is that they're good at sacrificing, or they're good at kind of accepting the sabotages that they make in their life that are really keeping them from reaching their full potential, or getting all of their or achieving all their desires that they really want, but they've kind of accepted or rationalized how that, oh, I'm comfortable, I'm okay, things are okay the way that they are. And if you're afraid of success, it's easy to just stay in that comfort zone, because there's no risk of getting uncomfortable or having to stretch. The subconscious mind, one of the things it's very good at doing is maintaining the status quo.
Right.
It doesn't want change. It wants to hold on to, well, this has been, your subconscious mind says, hey, I've been helping you survive. I've been keeping you alive so far. Don't rock the boat. Don't change things. So the subconscious mind is very good at, what's the word, battling change or resisting change, I guess would be the word for it.
Right.
So we have to kind of realize that, the subconscious mind is just part of our whole personality makeup, and there's certain things that we can do certain tools we can use, and certain things we can do to achieve greater levels of fulfillment, contentment, happiness, success, however you want to call it, that a lot of people are sacrificing those almost unknowingly, or they've been doing it for so long that way that they don't really realize or fully recognize the impact that some of these rationalizations and some of these sacrifices are having on their life. Let's just put it that way, if that kind of makes sense to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, the sacrifice of what people want to gain versus what they want to give up. They think to themselves, like, I like that I'm able to go out to a movie with my friends, or I'm able to go out to a restaurant with my friends, or I'm able to go out to the mall with my friends. And if I was a superstar, I couldn't do that without the paparazzi trying to run me off the road. Or, these are the subconscious things where people self-sabotage themselves psychologically, because they think, I don't want to live in a little bubble where I can't go out and enjoy my life. So they Like for instance, I have this website, jonathanlunger.com, and I'm about to move it over to my blog, and I thought to myself, why haven't I done this, 8 months ago or 6 months ago? It was exactly because of that. Subconsciously, I was fearful of the success. Like on my conscious mind, I want the success right now, tomorrow, today. But the subconscious mind was like, hey, don't rush things, it'll come someday. Just don't get out your comfort zone. And TV, I'm glad that a lot of people I know don't watch TV anymore. And that they tend to be the most prolific, intelligent conversationalists I know. And a lot of people get sucked up into TVs. For other people, it's the internet. There's a million distractions out there that people can choose if they want to not be focused on their abundance and their goals and their vision.
It's interesting, Jonathan. Technology has brought us to a point where entertainment everything is available to you, and it's all kind of presented right in front of you. You don't really have to work. You don't really have to use what I call mind work. You don't have to use your imagination at all. Back in some of our parents' days, dating myself a little bit, you used to listen to the radio, and people would tell a story over the radio, and a lot of it was a lot of the scary things or the funny things or the real emotional impact of the story was how your imagination interplayed with the story, and you kind of filled in the blanks, or like reading a book or writing a letter to somebody. Things that we don't really do too much anymore in our society are all things that engage your subconscious and conscious mind together, and your rational mind and your emotions that we don't often do, And the thing with a lot of these technological advances is that it does everything for you. It kind of takes all the work, the internal work or the mind work out of the equation. And I guess I would say that kind of spoils us in a way, or makes us not have to work as hard to get the happiness or the enjoyment that we all seek, or the contentment. And another thing I would say is there's certain tools that we can use. I had a trainer, I've been working out quite a bit with a personal trainer, say to me the other day that 21 days makes a habit. And I was like, God, that's really pretty profound, And she was talking obviously about working out, about exercise. If you do it for 21 days straight, it all of a sudden becomes a habit. I think if you can find little things to focus on. There's somebody that wrote a book about the slight edge, and I can't remember the gentleman's name right now, and it talks about, breaking things down into smaller segments, doing, I'm going to do this 10 times a day, this productive habit.
Right.
I'm not going to read my email right away until after I've done these 10 things. Or I had a mentor of mine recently tell me that she doesn't go to sleep at night unless she's met at least 5 new people, or develop the start of 5 new relationships every day. That her day is not complete if she hasn't done that. So I think if you can change your mindset a little bit, it's almost like changing the zero. The zero right now might be that, I can go to bed at night and, if I haven't done anything, well, who cares? My zero is basically zero. Or your zero might be, if you can change the parameter a little and say, my zero is that I have to do these 10 things every day, or else I haven't really, my day is not complete.
Yeah.
Or I have to do these 5 things, or I have to do this blog entry before I go to bed at night, or else my day is not complete. I haven't met my zero is not there, is complete, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
If we can engage some of that different mindset and some of those tools to around, or to end around the subconscious mind, so to speak, that's a way that we can kind of slay the beast around this procrastination issue. And I don't mean to say that it's easy, but I think we have to use whatever tools are available to us to try and do that, to be successful in that engagement that we do, that everyone has to do with their subconscious mind.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And another thing I wanted to add on, because I want to keep this short because I'm tired, I got to get to bed. But anyways, I've studied under a lot of great marketers like Dagan Smith, Harkin Ajala, Lita Russell, so many great marketers out there. And to me, all the really marketers that have helped me the most have been the ones who have said, you got to sit down and spend some time with yourself, all by yourself. Whether you're sitting on a mountaintop or out in the woods or by a stream or wherever it is that makes you relax and get in that mindset where you're just introspective. But you have to think, okay, what am I going to offer to the world? How am I going to help people? What is the value that I'm bringing to the market? And if we can't answer that question, then our customers aren't going to really understand what we're providing either. And that's what sort of separates the majority of people from the people who really help a lot of people. And that.
Yeah, when we were talking before, Jonathan, you mentioned the word clarity.
Right.
If we don't have that clarity about what our mission is or what our focus is or what we want to bring to the world, then it makes it a lot harder, a lot easier to procrastinate, and a lot harder to stick to our vision. It becomes becomes fuzzier and less clear to us. And once that happens, it's a lot easier to procrastinate or put it off because you don't have a clear vision of what steps you need to follow to get where you want to go.
Right. Yeah, it's so important, and it's like a lot of people fill up their days with busy work, but they don't do that tough work where they have to do that soul searching. That work that's where you're not going to get an easy answer. Sometimes it's a tough answer, and but it's worth it once you break through those subconscious hurdles.
Yeah, and you mentioned something else to me earlier when we were talking about kind of dividing up your personality into two and kind of looking at yourself from outside.
Right.
Instead, almost like a therapist or a change or a counselor or a guidance person. If you can, it might be helpful if we can do that. It's easier said than done, but if we can role play or put ourselves kind of almost like if you were an alien from another planet and you came down and you looked at our lives and how we're living our lives, what compared to what our aspirations and our dreams are and how we're actually living our daily lives. And would those be in congruence, or would those be totally, different sorts of things? Would somebody looking at you and say, oh yeah, this guy is congruent, this person is living a life that's congruent with their aspirations and their goals are, or they might look at you and say, hey, they believe one thing, but they're doing things totally different in terms of their actual behavior.
Right. They don't want to be a hypocrite. And it comes down to doing that deep soul searching. And I had something I wanted to say, but it slipped my mind just now. But it's you don't want to be a hypocrite. Like, you don't want to tell people one thing if you're not doing it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you're a life coach, Jonathan, so you see this, I'm sure, happen with people that you're coaching, where it's sometimes hard for them to accept your advice or your constructive criticism until we can find a way as individuals to internalize it. I guess that's a big word that means a lot in terms of acceptance. Even if you say, oh yeah, it makes sense, I'm going to do it, but if you don't really internalize it and it doesn't really become an integral component, you're not going to really do it. It's not going to be a habit or something that really becomes a part of your life. And I guess that seems like the way that we can really do the most to get around the procrastination. If we really make these things key, critical things, if we internalize that desire or that need for change, then it makes it a lot easier to do the tough work that you've been talking about in making those kind of changes.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that jogged the memory, and it is about the internal stuff. And because I'm a life coach, I don't consider myself a therapist because, legally I have to say, I don't treat, cure, diagnose, or prevent any disease or illness, and, I don't promise people will make any amount of money. They may lose money, they may make, zero. They may make some money, but with the whole life coaching thing, like, I don't give advice, but what I do is I listen to people, and if they tell me, I have a desire to make 5,000 a month, I'll echo back to them what they told me. I won't tell them advice like what I think they should do, but I will tell them what they told me they wanted to do. You know what I mean? And there's a big difference, because if you're like a certified psychologist or a mental health professional, you can give advice, but if you're a life coach, you can just help people with their goals and remind them of what they told you that their goals are. And it's the same thing when you're procrastinating. You could have other people and yourself telling you what you should do, but nobody's going to force you to take that action but yourself. So you're the only person that can slay that procrastination beast, that procrastination dragon.
Yeah, absolutely, Jonathan. And if we get to the point where we're our own life coaches, that's when it really starts to be exciting. I certainly am all for the value of life, of having a life coach, and I don't mean that you should. I'm not telling anybody to go and give up their life coach that they have.
Right.
But if we get to the point where we can start to be a kind of our own second life coach, or in other words, I'm seeing a personal trainer now. When I'm not in the presence of my personal trainer, can I kind of be my own second personal trainer? Can you kind of be your own second life coach? If we can do those kind of behaviors and kind of that are successful and build upon that success, I think that's what really will really help us get beyond this beast of procrastination.
Yeah, and it's funny you mention that, because like I went to a couple of hypnotist sessions, and I enjoyed them, and then I enrolled in this class to become a hypnotist myself, and there's a third hypnotist I bought a product from, and he was saying that it was Telman Knudsen. He was saying that all hypnotism is self-hypnotism, and in the sense the same could be said for all motivation is self-motivation. Like, if I know there's a chocolate chip cookie in my cupboard and I'm going to fight the temptation for it, I could have all the coaches in the world, but nobody but myself can stop me from grabbing that cookie. And so that's where the inner work has to happen. And it's not always easy.
Well, I think we've done a good job of scratching the surface. I know we don't want to take too much time tonight, but we certainly want to invite people to feel free to contact us to get into more depth with some of the topics that we've talked about tonight. And as Jonathan's blog is an excellent place to start. People who feel like they would like to achieve some kind of level of clarity and stasis in their body as well as their mind might want to check out the power strips that we mentioned briefly, and certainly something that we want to keep open to people, that we're certainly we relish the opportunity to talk with you about any of the topics we discussed on any of our fireside chats. Would you, Jonathan?
Yeah, definitely. And people check out Scott's site for the power strips. I just happened to have tweaked my knee the other day, and I cut up some power strips and put it on my knee, and thank God it's starting to feel better. So, real talk, we'll get in touch with you guys later. Love y'all, and you guys have a great night. Stay strong, keep learning, keep your head up.